Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety for the City of Huntington on August 3rd, 2026. We will call the business meeting to order at this time, beginning with a roll call. Chrissy?
Mayor Strick,
Present.
Danielle Albertson,
Present.
Megan Bonbrick,
Present.
Ian Lindsay,
Present.
Anthony Lesnickia.
Present.
Thank you. And having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, we'll move on to consideration of the first item on the agenda, the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion to bring the July 20, 2026 regular meeting minutes to the floor for consideration and adoption as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
So a motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes. Seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Under old business, we have a special event amendment for Market on Main, but I do not see Sharon here to provide an update on the conversation with downtown
I haven't
businesses.
heard anything either from Elizabeth, so.
So we'll strike that on the agenda and move along to consideration for future date. And moving along to River Fork West Lift Station bid recommendation. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration?
So second.
Motion and second, Director Cutters.
Yes, the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, we opened bids for the River Fork West Lift Station. This will be the lift station that will serve all of the undeveloped acres out there within that industrial park, including the engine factory that is currently under construction. At that meeting, we received one bid from Fox Contractors. After reviewing that bid and with the engineers and them having some follow-up conversations with Fox, we are comfortable with their bid provided. Therefore, it would be our recommendation at this time to award the bid to Fox Contractors for the base bid plus alternate number one, being a total of $647,283.50.
Further discussion and consideration of the recommendation? If not, I'll entertain a motion to award the bid contract.
I move for approval of contract to Fox. Second.
A motion and second, further discussion and consideration?
Where are they based out of again?
Fox is out of Fort Wayne.
Further question or discussion? Okay, not hearing it this time, we'll call the question in favor of the award based on recommendation. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries, contract is awarded. Thank you. Under new business, we do have a request for a water bill leak adjustment from Edgewild Hills. Mr. John Leidig, is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration?
So moved. Second.
A motion and second, and we've got Heather and John here with us as they're coming on up. I want to make the board aware of why this one is appearing before you. So under city statute, the water utility customers are authorized to request an adjustment when there's been a leak and once that leak has been repaired. And in certain situations, such as this one, we have private utility lines throughout the system with city meters and one master meter. There's a baseline of leaks in the system that have been kind of historically there. There was a major break. With that major break then, as they're going to explain, there was work that was done that seemed to have addressed the major leak, but there's still a lower level baseline of leak in the system that's being detected. And so that's why the request is coming to you as the board is under statutory, under the statute, staff has no ability to award an adjustment at this point, even though the most significant work has been accomplished. So ultimately it'll be your consideration on whether or not to basically award a variance on the policy at this point. So with that, please state your name and record and your relationship to the property and update the board on what they need to know for consideration today.
I'm Heather Leidig. I'm the on-site property manager for Edgewild. Been there since 2020. I have all the bills since November. Dating back to November, they were $800. In June, they did go up $4,000. And now in August, they are back to $900. You can progressively see that leak going up. We did get it fixed in a matter of 3 days. So we are asking for the credit for our water. And this leak has been there since we bought the property back in 2020.
The month. I'm John Leidig, owner of All Face Plumbing, helping represent Edgewild Hills. We've had this ongoing leak since the purchase of the property. In the beginning, we hired in American Leak Detector to try and come in. But due to the plastic piping, no tracer wire, anything that you could help find where the water line actually is, let alone a leak, is like a needle in the haystack. So we do recognize that we do have the ongoing leak monthly, and the owners of the property pay that. So we are asking that to be considered that that's there and will always be there until one day mysteriously it blows a big hole in it and we can find it then. We check our meters twice a year. We have occasionally found a leak here or there doing that. The leak we did find was 6 feet down at the bottom of the water pit in 2 fittings that had been fixed from the previous owner. So we had dirt come in. It probably took 48 hours because we had to do the line locates to get everything located and for their schedule to free up and do it. So it's not like we let it go for a long period of time. It was just a pretty darn good leak. And as you could see, up the months up to it, it started getting bigger and bigger until it blew. And that, unfortunately, out there, that's about the only way we'll ever be able to find the leak, is when it gets so big it starts boiling up out of the water, out of the ground and down the road. So that is why we're asking for the adjustment, knowing that, yes, the ordinance says for no leaks, but that's kind of a special situation out there since it's always had that leak. And so we're asking to adjust that month's bill.
For the board's awareness, I think I left this part out, is when the new owners purchased the property back in 2020, part of that, from the city standpoint, that's when the master meter was installed. And so because of that master meter, as they noted, those leaks that exist within the system are all being accounted for and billed accordingly, whereas previously it was just unaccounted for water loss that wasn't being billed. So in this situation, it is, that is the case where everything being properly billed, though. But it is, to their point, it's a rather unique situation where we have a mixture of public and private utility systems, and the only financial harm here at this point is to the property owner's margins.
So, and one other thing on that, I did have a question. They had provided me with the paperwork, and my question is on the billing and why they are being billed sewage for water that's not being treated. It's just being lost in the ground. I understand the extra water, but the sewage part of it isn't. And that's each month the sewer is almost 2 to 3 times as much as the water bill. So we are spending in excess of anywhere from $75,000 to $15,000 a year extra for stuff that's not being treated. It's just being lost in the ground. And so I'm asking that also be taken into consideration and that be adjusted, because it's not being treated. It's just lost water, and that we just pay for the water usage. The difference between the master meter and what all the trailers, we have 105 trailers, and we're asking for the we understand that difference between the master and the trailers, but we're also asking that we not have to be paying the sewer for water that's not going to the sewer.
So that matter can be discussed with staff outside the Board of Works, but today's request is just on whether or not to do the adjustment. So there's a lot that goes into that what we often think is not water impacting the stormwater and sewage system still is. So we can talk about that.
Okay.
In the meantime, Board of Works members, questions for the Lidings regarding the break that was repaired and any of the outstanding matters related to it. We also have Jennifer or Nate here with us on the city side to supply any other information for you. Okay. Heather, John, you're welcome to have a seat. If the board members have any questions for you, they'll ask. Yes.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Gunn, Office Manager for City Utilities. Most of the information that I was going to provide has already been covered, so I'm just going to kind of go through the adjustment and what that would be. Again, when we went out, showed running water, therefore we couldn't give the adjustment. That's why we're here today. If the adjustment would be given, we could take off the amount of $2,783.44. A penalty also got added to that account, so I would suggest that we take the penalty and that $2,783.44 off. Keep in mind the adjustment is for water and sewer both and tax. So if granted, the new amount due would be $2,009.28 instead of $5,130.95. And the upcoming bill that we haven't printed yet, it's about to go out here at the end of the week. It is a lot lower. It's $953. Any questions?
The high flow meter is the master meter.
So you have a high flow compound meter, high flow head, low flow head. And the high flow is clear. It's the low flow that shows the running water leaks yet.
Okay,
So that's when the smaller amount of water is being used.
I was confused by the information that was provided in the email where it says the high flow meter is no water running.
So
The
when
low
we
flow
were there,
meter has water running. So that's proving that there's nothing leaking beyond, I don't know.
A certain pressure level, basically.
Okay,
So speaks to a small leak.
So it's one meter, but it utilizes two heads. And so I don't know the exact gallon per minute, but like, anywhere from 0 to like 15 gallon a minute would run through the low flow. And then once it reaches over that 15 gallon a minute, the meter changes over to register on the high flow register. So it uses two registers to bill more accurately. And so the kind of a low volume usage is through the low flow. And then once it gets over a certain gallon a minute, it switches over to the high.
so you split it at the meter, it recombines on the property side.
The meter's got a changeover report, and so it only runs through one head or the other. It doesn't run through both heads at the same time.
It's in the meter body itself.
Oh, okay. So where was the leak?
I mean, they had a water main break. Was it this Hickory, I think it was? Is that right?
1964 Hickory.
Corner of Chester and Hickory.
Right there.
They did have a main break.
Yep.
They got it repaired. We did aid them with a sample that city staff pulled and took and left them for them. So I mean, I would agree that they did have a main break that did repair it. That property is kind of unique with the amount of customers on the other side of our master meter. The meter takes like readings every 15 minutes, and so it bases continuous usage off of. It shows usage every 15 minutes of the day. If it shows usage, then it flags it as a continuous consumption. And if it's over half of the 50, I think it's like 96 cycles. And so if it's over 50 cycles, then it flags it as an intermittent. So that meter is indicating that it's got a continuous usage. So all 96 cycles have usage.
Okay.
But with how many people are up there, I mean, different shifts, different, I mean, they have different, you know, they have weeks to some extent somewhere, but that meter's always going to show a usage, which is why we can't give an adjustment for the ordinance.
So is this master meter then helping you? I know you just mentioned there's different shifts of people, helping you then find those leaks at all and since it being an older system and things like that?
No, it's not, cause like, you still show a difference between what the master meter reads and what we got 105 properties, so each property uses so much water, and at the end of the month, that's all added and subtracted off to what the master meter, and then we pay the balance, because somewhere out there is one leak, two leaks,
Yeah.
but it's not bad enough to start flooding or make the
Okay.
ground wet.
So it's just,
And it's been there ever since we've been there for 6 years.
2020, yeah.
So, like I say, it's gonna be one of those things like this leak that we just had. It finally just let go and it just started pouring water.
so you just have to wait.
You just had, that's basically what and I told her, I said, oh, that break looks old, hopefully that was it, nope, not it. So, it's one of those things that until it breaks, we probably never find it because we can't track it.
Okay.
So this is a little bit different than how we normally handle. Well,
Yeah, I mean, typically, like on a household, there's only, the one family,
right.
they obviously sleep at some point, so they don't use water, through the night. So typically, we would go 48 hours after they say they fix it, verify that the meter shows no continuous usage, no leak indicator, and then Jennifer would be able to give an adjustment at that point. But per the ordinance, since the meter is still indicating the continuous usage, we weren't able just to give them the adjustment. That's where you guys are able to make that determination and approve that.
Because residents that have their own meters are allowed to do this once a year.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just have to.
Well, all customers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay, sorry, yes.
It's a year from the date of the adjustment. So
Rolling calendar year.
if we gave them an adjustment today, then they would have a year from today.
Right. But that's not applicable for this situation?
Well, what's not applicable is they've not fully
Right.
fixed all of the leaks.
Right.
Which is why the staff can't work. Now they fixed the primary leak, which is, that's what makes this one a little bit different.
Right.
There's a baseline that's just been in the system. And tracing it out, in this case, is not tracing it through a household where you can just put in a little bit of dye in the system and maybe find it.
Sure.
It's, over acres.
So, what happens if this happens again?
Within the year.
Well, that doesn't apply.
Correct.
They would have to come back.
We go through the whole.
Well,
thing.
yeah, I mean, it
They
would
could
not be
Eligible.
eligible for another year.
Okay. And, when was the leak reported again? What's the date?
June the 4th, I believe.
And what, you guys saw it spinning like crazy and called them or something?
No, they saw the water
Coming
flowing
up
down
to the
the road.
ground?
Yeah.
And then,
This one was that bad.
and then, okay, so then it got fixed and then,
Memorial.
how long was it? How long? Well, so it wasn't running for more than a day?
It was like 3 days.
3 days.
Because you had to do the 24-hour emergency,
Okay.
because they had to dig.
Yep.
And by the time we hit their schedule, we were like just past the second day mark. So 24 hours for them to mark it, and it took them 24 hours to get there.
Got it. Okay. And you said, Jennifer, that what you said in, the new amount, if we approved the adjustment, the new amount would be $2,009.28. And that would be the removal of, that would be the adjustment, the penalty, and the taxes, and the one other thing. the sewer.
Yes, we do an adjustment, we adjust the water, the sewer, and then there's a little bit of tax comes off on the water. And then I would take the penalty off too. So again, the total bill was $5,139.95. I would take off 3,000. Let's say 3,000. 130.67. So the new amount due would be $2,009.28.
Further question or discussion by board members?
And we've not had anything like this happen, or what any other kind of
This is the
residential.
only thing where I have a master meter in the situation that we do. So this is very unique here.
Okay, this is it, okay.
Most places are either a master meter or they're individual
Individuals.
meters.
Okay. So do we have to look forward to this?
And this just helps to find the unaccounted for water.
Sure.
Which was the longstanding issue. Okay, further questions by board members? Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
Thank you.
So board members, then you've got a request before you and you understand the circumstances around the request, and why staff couldn't just award the adjustment under statute. If there's a board member willing to entertain it, then entertain a motion to award the adjustment based on our otherwise normal formula process, given the circumstances.
I move to support the adjusted amount.
I second that motion.
A motion and second, further discussion and consideration of the request? Seeing or hearing it this time, we'll call the question in favor of the motion to award the adjustment as requested. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I
All opposed, same sign. Motion is granted and the adjustment is awarded. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item under new business is 2026 street and alley paving bid opening. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor today?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutress.
Yes, it is that time of year again to open, street and alley paving bids, for 2026. I've received 2 bids today. The first one being from Brooks First Construction. The bid from Brooks Construction is $861,000. It's $861,000 even. The second bid that I have received is from E&B Paving. The bid from E&B Paving is $724,383.50. That's 724,383.50. At this time, we will take these bids and review them. The my recommendation, the board take them under advisement. We will report back with the recommendation at the next meeting.
Is there a motion to take the bids under advisement?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion?
How many, how much are we talking here in terms of like streets and mileage and? Do you have a rough number?
Rough number, we're just over 3 miles of streets, about a mile or slightly under a mile of alleys this year. We are a little less than historically, due to, not having any community crossing funding available at this time, so.
Thank you. Have those already been decided?
As far as the streets, yes, we do have the list that they bid on.
Further questions? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of the motion to take the bids under advisement. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time then, I'd like to open a public hearing on 426 West Tipton Street. Are there any members of the public here to address the board regarding 426 West Tipton Street that are not connected to the property? Okay, not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll close the public hearing regarding 426 West Tipton Street and move along on the agenda to consideration of an order of enforcement for 426 West Tipton Street. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration today?
So moved.
second,
A motion and a second. Commissioner Paul.
Good afternoon. The property owner is Elizabeth C. Carey, 918 Dearborn Street, Fort Wayne, Indiana. That order of enforcement was issued on July 10th, 2026, with a deadline date of August 9th, 2026. There were 7 unsafe violations, 12 minimum housing violations, along with 15 corrective measures for compliance. I will note that the water service for this property was shut off for non-payment on July 25th, 2019. I did check with Duke Energy and the electrical service is active. The owner, when the original inspection letter was sent out, it was set for June 16th. The owner did call on June 12th and asked for that to be rescheduled to June 23rd. Assured me that they would be there. When I had done the inspection, there was no one there. That picture there is trying to look in that front porch. It's hard to, this is the glare, so it was hard to tell. When I walked around back to the back, the neighbor out back told me that one of the neighbors to the east has been mowing the property as much as they could and maintaining it just to keep things down as much as possible, weeds as much as possible. At the time I had done that inspection on June 23rd, I went back what that date was again, and somebody had mowed the front yard, had taken all that down, cleaned it up. I did check with the city, with the clerk treasurer's office about if the city was mowing it and mowed it, they had not. So I'm going to assume that one of the neighbors probably took it upon themselves to do that. Since the order was issued, I've had no contact with Mrs. Carey at all. Oh, and it goes up here that the complaint said that there was a family of raccoons living in the home. You can tell by the upper part on the soffits on each side of that dormer up there, they're ripped out open. So I'm gonna guess they're coming in. It's definitely a clear path to them getting in the home. There's multiple trees that have grown up next to the foundation. On that west side on those bay windows, the trees actually go out and around the bay window itself, grew out and around it. Curve right out around them.
Commissioner Paul, what's your sense of the structural integrity from the exterior?
Honestly, without going inside, it's hard to really assess it, just with the condition. You're standing at the front door. Kind of hard to see around the foundation because of the overgrowth. There's a lot of things growing up out of the overhangs. Roofs have to be leaking throughout the home. I mean, with the amount of growth around it, up the sides, through it, if there's animals in there. I mean, it's really been sitting vacant since 2019. And
You know what's going on with that panel there? It's like slits are cut in the side.
Yeah.
I'd say that's just it's probably maybe just an attic area, so that's the vents for the roof, the attic area.
Is
A little
the,
different.
is the brick just on the porch and the rest is wood? Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, that would be probably the porch. Yeah, that front porch was completely filled with belongings. A little path, basically, from the door inside to the stone door outside.
And the last contact you had with this owner was that you rescheduled the inspection from 16th to the 23rd. And you showed up at the 23rd and you haven't heard anything since then. And was that correspondence? Phone call?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we affirm the order of enforcement as written with the deadline date of August 9th. Direct the building commissioner to seek demolition proposals to be open during the September 8th, 2026 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. And we assess a fine of $2,500 for willful failure to comply.
I'd like to second that motion.
A motion and second, further discussion and consideration. There's the motion. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call a question in favor of the motion to affirm the order of enforcement with the deadline date of August 9th, 2026, directing Commissioner Paul to seek bids for demolition, having those proposals open for consideration at the meeting is named, and assessing a fine for local failure to comply in the amount of $2,500. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries and the order of enforcement is affirmed. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a status hearing regarding 631 First Street. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, Commissioner Paul.
Yes, the property owner is Hanover Lending LLC, 2022 Broadway, Fort Wayne, Indiana. This order of enforcement was issued on September 30th, 2025, with a initial deadline date of October 30th, 2025. At the time, there were 8 unsafe violations, 9 minimum housing violations, along with 8 corrective measures for compliance. To date, the order has been in effect for 307 days. The board has granted 8 modifications to allow the owner additional time to complete the 8 corrective measures for compliance. And to date, the willful failure to comply fines total $25,000. During the status hearing on June 6th, the owner was asked to provide receipts for quotes for repairs for the roof, along with receipts for materials, asked for a timeline, and then to perform an interior inspection. The owner did complete the roof prior to the June 15th meeting. However, they did not appear before you. They did not show up for the scheduled interior time for the interior inspection. And they were not here on the July 20th meeting. At that time, the board affirmed the fine that was set on June 1st. If they didn't complete it by July 20th, they would get an additional $5,000 fine. So they weren't here on the 20th, so that fine went into effect, and then the board assessed an additional $2,500 fine. After the meeting on July 20th, the record of hearing was completed that noted the board, what the board asked the owner to do prior to today's meeting and to provide. The board did waive the requirement for a timeline to be provided, considering other than the interior inspection, everything is done. That was recorded. It was sent certified and regular mail to the owner, and I have not heard a word back from the owner and have not done the interior inspection.
Have you reached out with email or phone calls at all?
I have not. after they had emailed me that last time, I chose not to respond. And I had been sending everything email as well, along with certified and regular mail, and I did not this time. The emails is a courtesy, and I would have thought that I was giving really good explanation as to what needed to happen. There still seemed to be even more confusion on this process, so I chose not to send the email and just let the record of hearing speak for itself, because that's coming straight from the board. So,
And they've not replied by email either.
and I checked a couple times just to kept an eye on the property to see if anybody was there working, thinking maybe I got the impression that they wanted to get the inside fixed, cleaned up nice before anyone did an interior inspection, but I've not seen anybody there working or doing anything on the interior.
Remember their original proposal was make the repairs, put it up for sale and move on.
And this process did actually start in February of 2025 with courtesy notices. And those courtesy notices were pushed out and extended until September. So the order has been in effect for 307 days, but there was also 5 months, almost 7 months of courtesy notice time provided before the order was issued. After the courtesy notices, I would call their maintenance department and ask, and then they would tell me they'd have it done by this date, and then they didn't do anything. They'd tell me that I'd call back and they'd tell me they were gonna do it, get it done, and then they did nothing. And there were emails to the owner during that same time that went unanswered.
Refresh my memory, are there other properties in town that they own, or are they all out of town?
They had
We had a Washington Street one.
the 765, 769 East Washington courtesy notices started the same time. So February 27th, 2025, for this property and that property. That
That's
one,
the duplex.
the duplex, that one was earlier this year. Maybe around April, I'm gonna guess
That one was released,
was released,
And
yes.
it was released.
so now they don't have any currently in town?
They own, 5 total.
Okay.
But not on. They're not on your
None that are on the
list.
boards.
Right.
No.
Just this one.
So
I'm just curious if there were crews working in town, that's part of their excuse why they don't.
So if this owner meets you and you walk through the interior and everything's okay, then we're done with this, right?
Correct.
And the only reason why we need to see the interior is because the roof was open for so long that we need to determine whether or not it's safe and habitable.
Yes.
And they're not really giving us that opportunity.
He stated that he was up there.
Great. They need to show us.
Yeah.
The one thing I would clarify there is that the board does not need to in this case. The board wants to be done with the situation. The board can release the order because the work that was under the order was, by and large, it was done. So then if they do have significant damage on the inside of the house and the tenant sees that, the tenant will decide whether or not they want to rent the property or not. And as the board's aware, when tenants have certain living conditions they see, they will pass it along to them. So it works at that point too. So it's the board's discretion of whether or not they want to keep pursuing the matter or not, fundamentally.
The property has historically not been inhabited.
Correct.
So
Best of our knowledge, it's been empty for
10 years.
10 years, probably. And obviously, if their intent was to sell it, buyer's gonna come in and look at that and either decide whether or not it's worth the investment or not. Take steps in the marketplace accordingly.
I guess
but he's into you for $25,000 at this point.
My only concern, and I don't know if this is, does it set precedent? And I know the principle of the situation. Is it okay for them to come along and see that, oh, we can just not do things and we just.
Wait it out. I think that's really up to us. I mean,
I know,
But I do want to, again, push back on the
I know.
notion that anyone quote unquote got away with something here because
I
the
know.
repairs were made
yes.
and the fines of $25,000.
I know, and it's not, I don't wanna be like a petty, oh, got away with it, but I just don't want it to be, if I just wait long enough, we will give it up, in a sense.
what if a tenant's child runs up to the second floor and they fall through because the
Yeah.
floor is rotten?
It makes me feel like we're just gonna,
At some point, we live in a society where a parent makes a decision to rent that place and have their children in.
and if they're selling it, I mean, a lot of loans require, yeah, here, appraisals,
Inspections.
and, yeah, inspections and things. Unless it's an as-is.
I think he's just gonna keep sitting on it personally.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever had this in the 10 years I've been on board.
And I will note that the East Washington Street property, I can't remember for sure, but we're up to 25,000 on this one. I think it was right at 27,000 for that one. 12,000? It was,
I think
it
it
was,
was less.
maybe it was
Yeah.
12,000. It was substantial too.
Have any of them been paid?
So then that's beyond us, though.
Both of these properties. Correct me if I'm- When they take civil action, it'll be set up with a court hearing and like small claims goes to court and
I'll have to double check.
yeah. So I mean, it's just a lien. It goes against property, they don't pay it, then it goes against the property, it's just a lien. If they don't pay their taxes, it gets added to that. But I know we took civil action in January 6th. But we've had multiple fines. It's not been added to that case yet. So that's going after him, the owner person.
Okay.
The corporate entity.
Yes, sure. Yes. So I don't imagine that can just be put off on like some of these, a potential buyer, if there's a lien, they'll
And
make the buyer pay the
I
liens.
don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I would love the, it's frustrating, but I understand the,
Guess there's stuff coming down the pipe too.
yes.
And it looks to be maintained on the outside.
Yes. Yeah,
Let's fix it up, son.
it looks better now than it has
Versus
for
load.
years. Yeah, Jennifer, good job.
Well, I guess, hopefully whoever, comes across the house, or hopefully they will do their due diligence and does a thorough check of things, so.
Then a motion to release the order and assign the fees and penalties to the civil action.
I motion to make for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration. Not hearing any of this time, we'll call the question in favor of release of the order and enforcement. And the direction to have the accrued fees and fines, penalties assigned to civil action. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Not aware of any miscellaneous items for the good of the order. Move on to accounts payable. Is there a motion to authorize payment of the bills incurred by the city? So
Okay.
motion and second. Further discussion and consideration. Not hearing any at this time. Let's call the question in favor of approval, authorizing payment of bills incurred by the city of Huntington. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.